helm of history's embrace. Captain's quarters sets the pace with Captain Mayhem at the helm. A voyage of knowledge, a story to round. Captain's quarters weekly delight, where history's treasures take flight. Led by Mayhem, Longwood, and Joe, they explore the past, row by row. Navigator Longwood charts the course, guiding listeners to knowledge's source. Cartographer Joe, with maps in hand, unveils the...
Hey, welcome to Captain's Quarters Podcast, episode 182. Can you imagine that, Mandy and Davey? 182 nights we've done this. My gosh, it seems like only yesterday. And it is April 21st, 2025. And of course, how do we find our show, Davey?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have to put this. It's just funny. I'm sorry. That just cracked me up.
That's my good son making it before the credits roll. Very good. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, go to YouTube, use that QR code and find our show, find our channel, find everything about us, like us, follow us, and subscribe to us. Hey, Davey, I just had an idea. Mandy, write down a note. Follow, like, subscribe, Mayhem, and I'll tell you what my idea is at the end of the show or after the show closes. I just had an idea. Anyway, I'm full of them. Feeling pretty good about ideas right now. So let's see. There's Jim and there's Zachary. We're going to have to do something for Zachary and Jim because you know what? I think they are our most loyal crew members of this whole show.
Zachary's always on.
Yep, Zachary is always there, and I think the only reason Jim wasn't on as many times as Zachary is because Jim had to take care of some health issues. So we need to make sure that everybody's good and healthy and having a good time. As always, we like to start the show off with a little bit of jocularity. I love that word, jocularity. And that means Mini Mayhem is waiting in the wings. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's see what we've got with Mini Mayhem today.
Ahoy, mates. Mini Mayhem here with Joke of the Week, sponsored by our good friend Travis Rami of Salt City Comics. Why did the pirate run around his bunk? Think about it, and I will give you the answer at the end of the show.
I don't even have a guess for this one. We'll have to think about it. So two others that are on the channel with us tonight is Will the Historian, who made it before the credits ended, and Ransom Mayhem over in Panama City. So we have St. Augustine, we have North Alabama, we have St. Augustine, we have Panama City, and we have Michigan, and Black Ball. I believe Black Ball is out of the Pirates of the White Sands from something I saw just the other day. So Ransom, you can correct me on that, but I do believe I saw that. And Jim won't be here next week. Gastric bypass scheduled for the 28th. Well, good luck with that. I hope it works. I actually went on a diet myself. See, and guess what? I'm down 18, almost 19 pounds. I'm feeling much better now. Now I got to start pumping up. I'll be back. Anyway, so let's jump right into This Week in Nautical History, sponsored by Ancient City Sirens. Who else would be better to sponsor nautical history than our favorite sirens, the Ancient City Sirens, under the command of Miss Gina, the best dancer in all the land. And ladies and gentlemen, let's have This Week in Nautical History.
We begin This Week in Nautical History on April 21st, 2021. Indonesian submarine RI Nagala sinks off the coast of Bali with a loss of 53 people on board. April 22nd, 1721. HMS Seahorse, infected with smallpox, arrives in Boston Harbor, causing the first outbreak in 2 decades. Half of the population catch it, causing 850 deaths. April 23rd, 1838, English steamship Great Western crosses the Atlantic, docks in New York City. April 24th, 1895, Canadian-American adventurer Joshua Slocum set sail from Boston, Massachusetts on a solo around-the-world voyage aboard Spray, 11.2 meters oyster sloop. April 25th, 1960, first submerged circumnavigation of Earth completed by USS submarine Triton in 60 days, 21 hours. April 26, 1952, U.S. minesweeper Hobson rams aircraft carrier Wasp, kills 176. And finally, on April 27, 1859, Pomona sinks in North Atlantic, drowning all 400 on board. And that was This Week in Nautical History.
Aye, very good, very good. And a new face popped up. I Miss Jeanette Garcia. Hello there, good to see you. And Michael Dodson just popped in. Very good. And I just saw something. Where did I see it? I gotta go back and look. I thought it was hilarious, and I'm gonna have to steal this idea. Where did I see it? This right here. A workout video in garb on a beach. I don't know, Davey, Mandy, do you think we can come up with something to make that funny?
Yes.
All I have to do is try to make you two do yoga on the beach. That would be funny.
Well,
Pirate yoga.
We before the show we were
Dang.
talking about having a photo shoot at a very prominent piece of beach because, believe it or not, you'll find out more later. But Miss Mandy will be in St. Augustine in May, and she has at least one extra day, and we're going to work her fingers to the bone and do all kinds of videos for the new parts of the show. So maybe, and one of those is going to be out on the beach. I'm wondering if we can come up with a workout.
I'm sure we could come up with pirate workout. We need to get some like cannonballs and ropes, and we could have a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think we'll have to have some fun. Zachary, you might want to send me any ideas you have, and we'll try to test it out.
Or send over a list to me on Facebook, and I'll see if I can get a hold of the supplies, Zachary.
Yeah, not only that, but we're pirates, so we're stealing your idea. We're acquisitioning your idea.
Barrel rum pose right there.
Very good. Very
It
good.
didn't work.
All right, let's see. Let me get rid of that. There we go. And move on down. Who else is on? Very good. All right. So, quote of the week by Spyglass Travel. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want a really good walking tour of St. Augustine, Spyglass Travel is who you need to call. My friend there, Kevin, and his wife, Angie, they do a wonderful walking tour of St. Augustine. It is at least an hour long that you walk through the oldest city in the nation, and they tell you all kinds of the stories that go all the way back to the start of this old city nation. So, Spyglass Travel. Go ahead, Davey. What's our quote? A man always has two reasons for doing anything, a good reason and the real reason. J. Pierpont Morgan. J.P. Morgan. One of the industrialists, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Very good. I just saw an exercise. The captain
many.
stretch. I think we could have some fun with this. Yeah, I think so. All right. I can see now. Downward sea dog. That would be a yoga position, the downward sea dog. This is getting too funny. I can't concentrate on the show. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, since we've done the quote, it's now time for 8 bells. And we do have 5 this time for this week. And we would have had 6, but I'm holding off on Captain Horatio Sinbad because we're going to do a special edition show all about him in a couple of weeks. So, and he passed away 2 weeks ago. Very, very prominent figure in the pirate modern world. For now, though, sponsored by Marco's Pizza. You want a pizza that is out of this world? Well, ladies and gentlemen, Marco's Pizza makes it. I swear to you, I believe that a good pizza is not just the crust, it's the sauce. And their sauce is wonderful. And their white pizza, their vegetable pizza. Who would have thought that this man here would have eaten a pizza with no meat on it? But I have, and it's wonderful. I know I can't get Davey to do it, but if I actually disguised it as one big giant hamburger, he wouldn't know the difference then. All right. So let's see. 8 bells, Davey. Winston Conrad Wink Martindale, I heard this one last week, was an American disc jockey, radio personality, game show host, and television producer. He was best known for hosting Gambit from 72 to 76, and again in 80 to 81, Tic-Tac-Doe from 78 to 85, High Rollers from 87 to 88, and Debt from 96 to 98. On June 2nd, 2006, Martindale received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. On October 13th, 2007, Martindale was one of the first inductees into the American TV Game Show Hall of Fame in Las Vegas. He was 91 years old. Patrick Robert Adiarte, a Filipino-born American Filipino-born American theater, film, and television actor and dancer, known for his portrayal of foreign or Asian characters in various roles in film and television. His roles included Prince Chulalongkorn in the Rodgers and Hammerstein musical The King and I, Wong San in Flower Drum Song, college student T.J. Padmanabham in High Time, and Ho-Jon in the television series MASH. He was a regular dancer on Hullabaloo. He was 82 years old, ladies and gentlemen. Roger McLean, a New Zealand bass guitarist out of Australia. He was early bass player for the Little River Band. McLean joined country rock outfit Stars in 76, remaining with them until 77. He was a member of the jazz rock experimental band Pyramid with David Jones, David Hirschfelder, and Bob Venier, releasing albums in 80 and 83 and touring Europe in 83. He was 71 years old. Mike Chase was an American professional stock car racing driver, winner of the 94 Series Championship in the NASCAR Winston West Series. He also competed in the Winston Cup Series, Busch Series, and Craftsman Truck Series, and worked for Penske Racing as a crewman. Chase was inducted into the West Coast Stock Car Hall of Fame in 2010. He was 73 years old. And the last and final one, ladies and gentlemen, as of today, the world mourns somebody that is known throughout, no matter what your background or belief in religion is. The head of the Catholic Church, Pope Francis, born Jorge Mario Bergoglio. I'm sure I got that part wrong, and I apologize. He was the first pope from the Society of Jesus, the Jesuit order, and the first from the Americas, the first from the Southern Hemisphere, and the first born or raised outside of Europe since the 8th century Syrian Pope Gregory III. Pope Francis was 88 years old. It is best that we remember all the wonderful things that he did. The Catholic Church and the Pope are very important to a lot of people. And now they go through the historic decision-making process of coming to a new pope. It is interesting, and if you're not familiar with it, maybe it's something that will pop into our show in the next week or two, because I'm sure they are not going to come up with a pope exactly right away. So we'll see. So, ladies and gentlemen, 5 on our list for 8 bells. If you'll raise a glass to those that have passed, to their fans, their families, and their loved ones, we give them honor. Aye. Very good, Davey. Very good. How about this week in history? sponsored by Dick's Wings. And I don't have to say much because we made a commercial. We are planning now. We've got some weeks coming up where there's nothing for me to do but work on podcast videos and films. So we are working on a few. But for now, we have one with Dick's Wings. Take it away, Davey.
Where does the captain take his hungry crew for a good lunch special? Why, Dick's Wings. Daily lunch specials even a pirate could afford. Why, look, a table filled with flavors and tastes for even the most discriminating of pirates. A great lunch and a great time is always had by all at Dick's Wings, St. Augustine, Florida, US 1 South.
We begin this week in history on April 21st, 1986. Geraldo Rivera opens Al Capone's vault on live TV and finds nothing except great ratings for his spectacle. April 22nd, 1998, Disney's Animal Kingdom opens at Walt Disney World near Orlando, Florida. April 23rd, 1789, President-elect George Washington moves into Franklin House, New York, first official residence of a U.S. president. April 24th, 1913, the Woolworth Building opened in New York City by Frank Winfield Woolworth at a cost of $13.5 million at 792 feet, then the world's tallest building. April 25th, 1954, Bell Labs announces the first solar battery made from silicon. It has about 6% efficiency. April 26, 1986, world's first nuclear disaster. The fourth reactor at Chernobyl nuclear power station in the Soviet Union explodes. 31 die and radioactive contamination reaches much of Western Europe. And finally, on April 27, 1877, Rutherford B. Hayes removes federal troops from Louisiana. Reconstruction ends. And that was This Week in History.
Hey, I remember those solar battery things. I remember getting a Christmas present. It was a car with a solar thing on top of it, and you ran around chasing it with a flashlight so it would run. Yep, I remember that. So, a shot across the bow. This week, my shot across the bow is about something that has gone on. We talk about ideas, thoughts, reflections, and words. So I want to share some thoughts here. Oh no, where did it go? I lost my notes. Wait, no, I didn't. There they are. I thought I lost my notes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I witnessed something this past weekend. Let's see, where am I going to put that? Right there. I witnessed something this past weekend, and I just want to talk about it a little bit. Now, I am not opposed to protesters. I don't care what you're protesting. Even if you're protesting something that I'm not in favor of, I'm okay with that because we have freedom of speech. But what I had a problem with was some of the protesters, the location of the protest was on the fort grounds at the crosswalk that comes from the fort directly across the street, pardon me, to the Pirate Museum. There were many, many tourists that were leaving the fort and coming across to go down St. George Street or in the parking lot of the fort and coming to that crosswalk because it's the only one. Some of the protesters screaming and hollering at parents and tourists, especially with little children. This is the part I don't agree with. Yes, you do have the freedom of speech to do that if you want, but why are you trying to intimidate children? Why are you trying to intimidate parents who may be in your corner for whatever you're protesting for, but their main concern is protecting their parents? We actually had a child come into the gift shop at the Pirate Museum. I didn't witness this part. The child was in tears because there were some ugly posts of embryo babies, pictures of embryo babies on some of the signs. And those signs, I did witness them waving them in the face of people as they walk by on the sidewalk. So this is the problem I have. You want to speak out, that's fine. But let's talk about what freedom of speech really is. That way, maybe we're all on the same page. Freedom of speech includes the right not to speak, specifically the right not to salute the flag even. Students may wear black armbands to school to protest a war. It says that students do not shed their constitutional rights at the schoolhouse gate. To use certain offensive words and phrases to convey political messages. These are your rights. To contribute money under certain circumstances to political campaigns. To advertise commercial products and professional services with some restrictions. And to engage in symbolic speech, including the burning the flag in protest. These are your rights. They are. Some people may not agree with them. I personally don't agree with burning the flag, but that's the way it is. Freedom of speech does not include this: to incite imminent lawless action or fear, to make or distribute obscene materials, to burn draft cards. That's an old one because we don't have those anymore. To permit students to print articles in a school newspaper over the objections of the school administration. You don't have the right to do that. You do not have the right of students to make an obscene speech at a school-sponsored event, or students to advocate illegal use at a school-sponsored event. Let's take it just a little bit further. You have the right for peaceful protests. Peaceful protest means you can holler and scream and shout all day long if you want. But when you start to do bodily harm, property damage, that is when you've crossed the line from freedom of speech. I just think common sense should be used here, and hollering at tourists, screaming obscenities at them, when all they are doing is trying to cross the street and enjoy the tourism of St. Augustine and the oldest city, I think is not using proper common sense. And here's one of the reasons why. You may, let me back up, let me say it this way. The people you're screaming and hollering at, they may believe in your cause. But the minute you became offensive and confrontational, they may not believe in your cause anymore. There were things that I heard at the protest because I'm right across the street from it. I'm watching it. There were things that I saw and there were things that I heard that I am fully in agreement with. But I'm not in favor of certain kinds of irrational, mean-spirited behavior. Screaming obscenities at children is not right. And if you believe that you have the freedom to do that, you're right, you do. But I would believe that common sense dictates a little bit more past your freedom. And what most people don't understand is this: there are consequences when you use freedom of speech. Here's one of the consequences right now. I'm telling people about your bad behavior. And for all those people that lump all Republicans into one ugly category, or all Democrats into one ugly category, and everybody gets upset with it, well, this is one of those reasons right there. All those protesters are now lumped into one category. A bunch of mannerless, screaming people. You do not get your point across if you are going to be rude, belligerent, and especially being that to children. Stand there, wave your signs, speak in proper tones, and maybe people will listen to you. But I don't want to stand there and listen to people screaming and hollering at me. I can just go home. So it was pathetic. It was sad. And when I posted this on Facebook, I had some people deny it ever happened. Well, it did. I'm standing there watching it. And one of the people that said it didn't happen wasn't even there. Freedom of speech is a valuable thing, but some people take it just a little bit too far. Common sense should be the standard. And that's my shot across the bow. Now then, I have seen a couple of new nominees pop in here. There's Omar from down in Mexico. Thank you, Omar, for agreeing. Not with the kids. You're absolutely right. I see Steve Scuba Murray in. I see Stephen B. I think I've seen a couple of others. So thank you all for joining our show. We're glad to have you aboard. And I will, in public right now, wish you the best of luck in the voting process, which started yesterday. I will tell you this, I haven't made my vote yet. I'm still waiting for the bribes. Here are the 30, the dirty 30. These are the 30 nominees to have 12 picked to be in the order inducted in 2026. And we truly appreciate each and every one of them. They are from all over the country and including the world now. And as I said, Omar is down in Mexico City. It was a wonderful conversation we had. So and the reason I bring this up now, Davey and myself and Deborah Brusso from Parlay 8, and you all know that we we support Parlay 8 as they support us. Two very good podcasts. So between Deborah and I, she made up some questions, and then we invited any of the 30 that were available to come and do a 8 to 12 minute video. We set aside 10 open spots on Wednesday night, 10 on Thursday, 10 on Friday. 30 spots, 30 people. And we filled almost all of them, over half, I will say that. Some very good videos for many of the people that were there. We appreciate it, all that joined us, and we thank you for being a part of it. And by the way, it was a lot of fun because there were a few people that I only knew a little bit about, and by talking to them, asking a question, and having an interview with them, I learned even more about them. And in fact, some of my voting may have changed already after the fact. Every year, I've been part of the order since 2012, and every year I have a yes column and a no column and a maybe column. I have some no's, I have some yeses. My maybe column is the biggest, and then I have to figure out who, because each member only gets 12 votes, 1 vote per candidate. So it does make it hard. And this year, out of the 30, there are a lot that are worthy. I look forward to meeting all of them at the induction, and those that don't, do remember, sometimes most of us, it takes more than one. It took me 2 sessions, 2 tries, 2 waves. I was in the first wave, made it in the second wave. Don't get discouraged. Just remember, this time it's just a stopping point on the journey. And that's it. So we wish you all luck. On that note, Davey, what's on the horizon? I have a sneaking suspicion. Do you have any Easter videos?
No.
You mean you didn't do any Easter videos? No jib jabs? I can't believe it. Darn. So, never surrender. That's right, Omar. And yes, Ransom Mayhem, it took him 5 tries. So, it's well worth it. And we look forward to seeing everybody at the induction. It's on the East Coast, but that's all I know now. And we'll see whatever happens. So nothing on the horizon, although I will tell you this. We alluded to it earlier. Mandy from Utah will be in St. Augustine on May the 4th, 5th, and 6th. Well, she'll be in St. Augustine on the 4th and the 5th. leaving on the 6th, right, to go to Orlando?
Correct.
Yes. So on the 4th and 5th, we're going to have to figure out what to do. Look at that, Davey. Jeanette says she missed the jib jabs, Davey. We're going to have to do something about it. Wait. No, never mind. I'm not going to say that.
Yes,
So-
Will. May the 4th.
Yeah. May the 4th,
be
yes.
with
May
you.
the 4th be with you. I think we're going to have to do a pirate video of that too. We've decided to do some videos that will benefit the podcast, but we've also decided to do some, maybe invite the crew.
I could do that here. My buddy Daniel has like 70 lightsabers. And he's a photographer, so I could literally go get pirate photos with a lightsaber pretty quick.
Yeah. I will have to figure out something. Maybe we can take a picture and then what's the word I want to use? Maybe we can fill in the picture with some lightsabers. But we'll see. Yeah. So yep. Will the historian, that he caught on right away. And there's Tony. I see Tony also. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're working on a photo shoot on May the 4th at the beach just south of Marineland Studios, which is really unique and picturesque because there are rocks all over the beach. Not just little rocks. I'm talking about big giant boulders, big giant chunks of coquina. So we've taken some pictures there before. And I think it's time for us to do it again. And so May the 4th, a Sunday, I think I may even bring out a bottle of rum and we'll toast my birthday, which is in a couple of days after. So we'll see what happens. On that note, that's our guest. I've also got a few other guests I take my mermaid pics there. It is a great location. And I may have a couple of our girls in our crew with their mermaid tails, take their tails out and we'll do some mermaids too. I think it would be kind of cool. So that's what we're looking at. Guests on the horizon. Several of the order nominees, I have put in a list and I would like to invite them to be guests on my show through the summer. And we'll work on some of the dates that might work. We're trying to open up everything we can to let everybody know that we're not just a bunch of pirates here in St. Augustine. There are pirates everywhere. And in fact, on cue, Captain Smoo pops up, and he is in Quebec, Canada. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have, in fact, let's do this real quick. All the pirates that are in there, make a post real quick and tell us where you're at. Let's see how many we have so I don't miss anybody. Everybody go ahead and post in there, type in where you're at. I know Smoo is in Quebec. I know Mayhem is in Panama City Beach. But everybody throw something in for me so we can throw it up there so everybody knows where everybody's from. So you can see how far-reaching Captain's Quarters podcast is becoming. Oh, and speaking of that, I do have to brag. We've done 182 episodes, and we were told what? But just before Christmas that we would be monetized. Isn't that right, Mandy? Just before Christmas, I think?
A year ago? We've been monetized for a while. That's how we got the numbers to come up.
All right. And we've never really made any money from it. Until yesterday.
Yet, no.
Yes. We got our first deposit from YouTube. A whole $100.21. That 21 cents is important because it puts us over the $100 mark. All right. So let's see. We have Panama City Beach. We have Sturgis, Michigan. We have North Carolina. We have East Los Angeles. We have South Carolina. We have Deltona, Florida. I know we have Quebec, Canada. My goodness, we are everywhere. We need to get one of those maps, maybe some kind of a map that we can take a picture of and then put pinpoints where everybody is listening to us from.
We have a pirate from New Zealand that wants to be on the podcast too.
Really? What's his name?
Captain Festus.
Good. Is he watching or listening to us through Facebook?
I think he says Stick Island on New Zealand. He might be, but I don't know. He messaged the Facebook page earlier today, and I directed him to the email so that you guys would find it faster.
Good. From Australia. What a great thing that would be. I think
that's where it says. It says NZ, so I'm assuming that's New Zealand. I don't know.
New Zealand. Very good. Coast to coast. And Kara Creamer is in her room in St. Augustine. Very good. So, a couple of other guests we have coming up that we're working on. A friend of mine has developed a video game, and he wants me to do some voices for the game. And we're going to do that scripting here in a couple of weeks and then have him on the show. So that's kind of cool. I've sent a message out to Sheriff Hardwick here in St. Johns County. They have several projects that we like to back, so we'll bring them on the show. I think we probably need to bring somebody from Inc. and somebody from Alia's Acres on the show so that everybody knows what we're doing. So it's a good deal. We need to really spread out, and we've got some good guests upcoming. So be watching for us. On that note, Davey, have Mini Mayhem tell us what the answer to the joke is, because I'm dying to hear.
Okay, it's time for the answer for the joke of the week. Why did the pirate run around his bunk? The answer is he was trying to catch up on sleep. Don't even try to catch me for that joke, Mandy Joe. I'm too fast for you.
I don't know about that one. My goodness. All right. Well, fair joke. We'll let it go at that. Davey, we always like to say thank you to people. Let's throw our video up there.
The Captain Quarters Podcast is always searching the world for history, knowledge, and adventure. It takes a crew to run a podcast, so we take this opportunity to thank those who help keep this podcast going. The crew: Captain William Mayhem, Navigator Davey Longwood, Cartographer Mandy Joe. Our charities we support: Alia's Acres, Humane Society, Inc. The three major charities we support, but always room for more. You too could be part of the show and support the show in many ways. Go to Patreon. For a small monthly contribution, become a Powder Monkey or First Mate sponsor. Go to YouTube and hit the like and subscribe buttons to join our ranks and support the show. It does take a crew. Thank you.
Very good, Davey. Here's our channels, or here's our platforms. We're on YouTube every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as soon as the show cans, it goes right to Spotify, Instagram, Twitch, and Facebook. If you just want to listen to us, because some people don't want to have to look at us, and I understand that, we're pirates, Apple Podcasts, Castbox, Stitcher, Twitter, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. And I always tell everybody we're trying to give Joe Rogan a run for his money. It's going to take me 3 lifetimes, but I think we can do it. Our numbers. Do we have something on our numbers?
Yep.
All right, let's see our numbers. I'm surprised now. Let's go. Pay off. We do thank everybody for their continued support, and be watching, because we're getting ready as we start bringing more guests back on the show. Some of you that have been with the show for a while have noticed that we stop doing the show, or we start to cut the show off at about this time every time, between this time and quarter till. So about a 40 to the 45 minute mark, we start to cut the show. If we have a guest, the guest will be on the show with us for that time frame. But then when the show cuts, those of the people that are paying our memberships, and we're revamping our membership to Patreon to include a new membership level, those people that are paying to be in the membership level of everything, YouTube membership and Patreon levels, the show will immediately turn around and start up again, but only those people that are there can watch the show and be a part of it. and ask questions and be on the show. One of the reasons we're doing this, we had some very wonderful advice a month and a half ago. Mandy's friend who does podcasts and wrote a couple of books. What's his name, Mandy?
Daniel?
Yes. Daniel is pretty expert on podcasts. He's been doing it longer than we have, and he's figured out some things. And they noticed that our analyticals talked about our show, and at the 40, 45, 50-minute mark, we were losing people. I understand that. When I watch YouTube at night sitting there with my dog, I don't like to watch anything that's more than 20 minutes long anyway. So we decided to revamp the order of our show, put it into a 40 to 45-minute time frame. And if we do have a guest, the last 15 minutes will be with the guest. We'll drop some things or squirt some things, and that last 15 of the 45 will be with the guest. So everybody gets to hear the guest. But when the show stops, within a few minutes, we'll restart. And those people that are part of our membership community will be allowed to watch us. And there's a reason. And it's not necessarily that we're going to make tons of money from that. But the reason more is this: if people are paying the $5 or the $10 a month to watch a show, they're more apt to going to be wanting to watch that part of the show. So when we were losing people, we were probably not losing those people. They wanted to be a part of the show, but we were losing other people. And when you lose people, your numbers change, and those numbers, and I don't figure them out. I have Mandy's brain to take care of most of that. But the way I understand it, the numbers change, and if they change going down, it goes against us. I don't understand everything. I am just the ugly pirate face behind Captain's Quarters podcast. Davey is the brains, and Mandy is the beauty. Other than that, I just sit here and talk, and sometimes too much. I do realize, though, that I look like I should be auditioning for Wayne's World right now, the way I look with this OL hat on. Oh, well. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you being a part of the show. I once again wish good luck to all the nominees. It is good to have you aboard. It is also good to have had the chance to talk to you. I wish you all luck. I hope things go in the direction that you hope. And if they do not, please don't despair. Guess what? It doesn't mean it's over. All right? If at first you don't succeed, shoot a couple of pirates and keep going. There you go. On that note, I don't believe we have anything else. I've looked at some of the questions. I see that nobody's been asking anything. I notice that Steve has admitted he's old enough to have been riding a dinosaur. I wouldn't be admitting that if I were you, Steve, but that's okay. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for us to say goodnight, because we are at the 43-minute mark. And by the time I stop talking and we do everything else, we'll hit that 45-minute mark. But we do appreciate it. And how do we sign off? Oh, and before we sign off, put that email back up there real fast, Davey. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a suggestion, if you have an idea, please send us an email. I'm trying to get more used to emails, and I now have Davey and Mandy telling me that I need to get my butt in gear and learn, what is it, Twitter?
TikTok.
TikTok. Yes, we're talking about TikTok also. We'll see how it goes. Technology and pirates do not mix, as Deborah and I kept saying last week. But we have no choice. Now bring me that horizon. I think I've heard that before. Ladies and gentlemen, send us a message. We'd like to start making a calendar of all the events, because as I start to work things out, I would like to start visiting other pirate events. Over the last 14, 15, 16 years, it's been hard for me to do that. And the reason it's been so hard is because I put so much time into the museum and the events that I've done here in St. Augustine. I have decided it's time for me to enjoy some of my time. So myself and my lovely wife, Miss Kara, we will be thinking about going to other events. I just saw Will the Historian says, come on, even I have TikTok. So we have one for the podcast?
Yeah.
What's it called?
What did we settle on? Hold on. I'm logging in right now.
Thank you, Nate. We do want to come over to Tampa also. See, there's another one right there. So we have a TikTok now, right?
Yeah, as soon as I can find it. It's called Captain's Quarter.
Captain's Quarter, just Captain's Quarter?
Yeah, because we couldn't have the full name, so it's Captain's Quarter.
No S on the quarters?
Nope.
All right, Captain's Quarter. All right, that's our official TikTok, ladies and gentlemen. I think we might need to make something to make it work, and I'll have to figure out how I can log into it so that I can start making stupid, silly videos. Maybe me and Max. That's what we do. Me and Max will need to make some videos. I just saw Gene is in there too. We've got all kinds of people watching the show tonight. We thank you very much. I just see this. Hold on a minute. Let me make sure I'm not missing something that somebody might have sent. Okay. Captain Festus from New Zealand. All right. We will look him up. See if I can do that. Yep, I can.
The private chat. I was sending you the New Zealand dude's info.
Oh, they do a variety show. Cool. All right, we're going to have to go and talk to them. I think that will be a fun one to do also. Thank you, Nita. I know she's not watching, but she made a compliment to me on another stream. Very good. Ladies and gentlemen, I know I'm rambling. My apologies. And doesn't even involve rum tonight. I've been very happy with staying off the rum and the beer because when my birthday comes up here in a couple of weeks, I'm going to have me some rum. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, how do we say goodbye and sign out?
Part of the podcast.
Part of the crew.
Always. We can't do it without you, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we could, but it's not just as much fun doing it alone. The three of us could have a lot of fun, but we have much more fun by having a crew be a part of the show. So, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you very much. Fair winds and following seas. And I'm going to try this real quick. To my friend down there in Mexico, Omar, adios, vaya con Dios. We'll see everybody next week on the next show. Bye.
With wit and charm they make